the Ninja Rob Podcast with Marco Perazzo and Tim Carpenter. The podcast for the true martial artist.
Feels like we've leveled up our technology game here thanks to the
MacBook thing.
The MacBook. What about the microphones, dude?
Yeah.
These microphones, like, they're amazing.
I finally hear how beautiful my voice is.
Your sultry tones.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the Ninja Rob Podcast. We're here at SFX Studios, newly updated. By the way, we never thank Devin enough. Last week, we got a lot of content out of his asshole. This week,
we got to update. He's sitting again.
He is seated. I believe it's a latex donut.
Yeah, some kind of donut. I don't know about latex. It's just a donut.
It's a donut. It's not a Wawa donut, just so that we understand. It is a rubber donut. But new microphones, Shure SMB 7s.
Mm-hmm.
See that? Right off the top. The same ones you'd see Joe Rogan talking to.
Yep.
Us, Rogan, we're running with the big dogs now.
Yeah.
But again, did you see the sticker logo he did for my school?
Yes.
I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
First sent it to me. I was like, I don't know. Not feeling it. He goes, bro, believe me, people are going to love it.
Yeah, he was scared.
Yeah, I know. He doesn't have an eye for like artistic stuff.
I don't know if I don't have an eye for artistic stuff. I have somewhat of a conservative view on things when it comes to the school. And Devin's like, look, this is dope. People are going to love it. And I'm like, whatever, bro. I don't know. I don't believe it. And then I was like, can we change the snake into a belt? And he goes, that's whack. I think those are his exact terms.
No, I said soft.
It is soft.
It's
soft and whack.
So then I think we kind of bounced the idea of using the tail of the snake as the tip of the belt.
Right.
And you liked that idea a lot, and you implemented it. And the implementation, it was like, great. Yeah. I can't tell you the compliments I've gotten on the sticker. People want patches, T-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
So and this is all leading into, if you need anything when it comes to artwork, logo.
It's called graphic design. Right? That's how you would describe it?
Yeah, design. but sometimes for people, you have to break it down into all the different things. If you need any services.
Yeah, exactly. It's probably, we should tell people what you don't do more than what you do. Yeah. Because you do a lot, man. The podcast. Portraits, sound engineering.
Photography, everything.
Photography. Video?
No.
See, no.
At Devin Wade on Instagram.
So please, he's done a bunch of logos, as Tim liked to point out, graphic design for Wolf Jiu-Jitsu. Now the new logo that we're using,
which is why he wanted a new logo, because he was jealous.
I was jealous of the sticker on my laptop, and then it was a hot design, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So
you're welcome.
There's your commercial.
Yeah.
We are the Ninja Rob Podcast. I'm Marco Perazzo, head instructor, owner of New Jersey Martial Arts. Tim and I are here watching FloGrappling.
It might be hard to concentrate on the pot. I'm really into this, especially this match.
Yeah, Jamil Hill versus Nicky Ryan. Very interesting match. I don't think Nicky Ryan gets into the finals, so I don't know. At what point he loses.
In this match, who do you think is going to win?
I think Nicky Ryan, but I think it's going to be a good match.
I'm going to go with Jamil.
Okay.
You said you had some.
You want to introduce
I said
yourself?
something.
Yeah. No.
I think the people know.
The fans know.
I think they know.
Gotcha. Hey,
if not, listen to one of the old podcasts and you can hear me introduce myself.
Bro, you just did the Ando cast?
The Ando cast.
Man, I listened to it intently.
Sure you did.
I felt like
he's a big fan.
I feel
more
like
so of mine than yours.
No.
He likes the podcast.
He does. I think he likes a lot of the podcast. Seems to do a nice. What's that?
At least half of it.
At least, well, I'm waiting for him to reach out for my invitation. He's invited me on the podcast, but I haven't gotten an official invitation. So once that occurs, I will go on the Endocast and straighten the record out.
He's on top of his stuff. He said he's like kind of with his guests. He's booked up for like. He booked it with me like a month or two ago.
Gotcha.
He's got his schedule laid out.
Just like us. Just like us. So, how did it feel? Like, what'd you think of being on the Endocast? Seems like he's got is it a home studio? Is that what he's doing?
It was in his apartment.
Nice.
It was cool. There's a bunch of Funko Pops everywhere.
Nice. It was like being in Santini's house.
Exactly. I told him he should have Santini on. Santini might have an orgasm if he walked into his place.
The Chronos of Time.
But it was cool. He's a good podcaster. I mean, I don't know how you judge a podcaster, but it was easy to do.
Right.
Like there wasn't like dead time.
No, it was fun to listen to, and I think
he wasn't like constantly bickering with me or arguing with me.
He's afraid of you. So, but yeah, it was definitely good. It's nice to see that the podcast community is growing, and his podcast is not nearly as niche as ours. Like he does some jiu-jitsu, but like music and that kind of stuff. Yeah. How did you get invited onto the podcast?
He sent me a message on Instagram. He had Zach Green on.
Okay.
So he trains at Noah
Spears.
Spear Jiu-Jitsu.
Big grand opening this weekend.
Mm-hmm. And then he had Zach Green on, and Zach Green had mentioned my name, and then he hit me up. Yeah. And the rest is history.
Yeah, there it is.
So what's it called again?
The
Ando cast. Yeah. Does a good job. I think he's got these same microphones as well, so he's into his tech. The SMBs.
These?
Yeah.
Oh.
It looked like it anyway from the picture I saw. They look pretty similar. So.
Well, what did I say that you have such an issue with?
There's a lot of things you said. There's a lot of inaccuracies there. We'll get one. I don't want to address them here because this isn't the forum. The forum is on his podcast, the Andocast. And just so that he's clear, I currently beefing with him until I get an invitation. So
what does that consider? What is your beefing with the Ando kid? Because it sounds like you've been speaking highly of him recently, like today.
Up until right now.
Oh, now you're gonna talk shit. Okay.
No, I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying like the Gilly beef is over. Like,
So all that's required for beef to happen is to say that there's beef, and then you don't need to do anything
100%.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, how do you think beefs occur? Somebody just manufactures it.
But I'm saying I thought there was like a process of beef that has to like you say bad things about each other, you insult each other a little bit.
Yeah, he hasn't invited me on the podcast. There's an insult. He invited you first. The number one insult. You know what I'm saying? Like you're second in command here. How did you get invited before me?
I'm sorry, what? I was watching that.
Yeah, so that's the Andocast. His name is Andy. So Andy, I'm currently beefing with you, but you can squash the beef the second I get an official invite, not just one that's, oh yeah, well, we're gonna have Marco on at some point. Got to talk to me. Can't just assume I'm gonna come on.
Yeah, and Andocast. Don't be surprised if Marco turns you down when you officially invite him.
Right, or not show up when I'm supposed to be there. But no, I love talking in the microphones. So, big week of grappling. Last week, the Freestyle and Greco-Roman World Championships occurred. Some upsets. Jordan Burroughs takes third, which is an upset for kind of an upset for him.
Not so much because he had lost to that guy before.
Yeah, that's true.
Almost the exact same way.
Kyle Snyder taking third. You would have thought that he at least would have gotten into the finals. Yeah, because he's got to go up against Sajalayev, who is arguably the best wrestler in the world right now.
No, I would say Jaden Cox.
The only problem with Jaden Cox is he's competing at a non-Olympic weight. So,
really?
Yeah. So he won the world championships at a non-Olympic weight, and he'll get, I believe, straight into the quarterfinals of whatever. When they do the tournament for the Olympic team, he's got to decide what weight class he's going to be in, and he'll be in the quarterfinals. Had he won, I believe this to be true. Had he won an Olympic weight, then he would have gone right into the finals.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's just got to pick if he's going to move up or move down. But
the crazy thing with him is that he hasn't been scored on in over a year.
I don't think he's been scored on in any effective. Like had points scored against him when it didn't matter, I think is what they were saying. Because I saw some of the matches like 14-2 and that kind of stuff. But I see, yeah, he hadn't had like a real point scored.
Or hasn't been taken down.
Maybe that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
hasn't been taken down in over a year.
So, and now this weekend, ADCC
going on right now.
The Olympics of submission grappling. We're currently watching Jamil Hill versus Nicky Ryan. Timmy's going with Jamil Hill. I'm going with Nicky Ryan, but I don't think, as much as I respect both of these guys because these guys are unbelievable, right? Jamil Hill's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, one of the few Americans that have ever done it in the gi, and Nicky Ryan is a member of the Death Squad, but these guys are going back and forth. Nicky Ryan, this part of the bracket for this weight class might be the toughest bracket in the whole tournament.
Yeah, this half.
Yeah.
All these brackets are crazy. Who do you got in this weight class?
I had it written down somewhere. I believe it's Tanquinho.
Really?
Yeah. I think he's got a good, like he's good at shutting people down and scoring points.
Yeah.
Right. And on the other side, I can't remember who I have on the other side of this division. I forget who's in the other side of the bracket.
I would say Meow probably win this one.
You think so?
This division, yeah. And then what's the next one? 77.
Yeah, that's is that Tonin? No, that's JT.
It's Tonin and JT
Yeah.
and Wagner. It's a bunch of good. Same things.
I have Canuto in the finals of that one. That guy's like unbelievably impressive. I really like.
I think
game.
JT will win again.
He had a tough time in his first match. I think he won by possibly ref's decision or negative. So.
Oh, he had what do you have?
Ross Nichols.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, it's from England, some British dude.
That's one of the cool things about Abu Dhabi. There's always like some guy you never heard of that
comes out of nowhere.
Puts on a good show.
Like a couple of years ago was Craig Jones.
Mm-hmm.
This year it could be, who knows? It could be Nicky Rodriguez. I mean, he beat my. I don't even know if it was controversial or not, but he beat Muhammad Ali.
It was a ref's decision.
So
I don't know if it was
close,
controversial, but it was close.
Close and tight match.
And he's got Orlando Sanchez next, so that's tough.
He's a hulk of a human being.
Yeah, he's like a 300-pound, 5'2",
amazing
muscle,
and an amazing athlete too.
Moves like a cat.
Yeah. So I don't think Rodriguez will out athletic him based on being 300 pounds too.
And Rodriguez has a match in Fight to Win Philly against Kainan Duarte.
That's a tough one too because he's on the other side of that division. So if you wanted to see who I picked for the finals, if you go to my Instagram at Team NJMA, I have an envelope. I did it all on the back of an envelope.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Hallmark card envelope, and I got all my finals there. This match is super interesting. Any points scored?
Nothing yet.
No.
I think Nicky Ryan swept him in the 4 points.
May have gotten a takedown in the beginning too.
We'll see if Jamil can sweep him here. Maybe take the back.
But this is such an awesome tournament. Do you remember back in the day when they were actually doing it in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
Which was
First
amazing.
couple years.
I'd have to wait till like 3 a.m. to find the results of this. There we go. There's a heel hook in place, but yeah, he has freed up the knee line. If he backsteps all the way over,
he could take his back from here.
Yeah. No one applauded there, but this could have been a finals match.
This weird position is like one of the Jamil's best positions.
Is it really?
He's really good at
Is that points? Not yet.
No, there's no points scored.
Yeah, it's crazy how good these guys are.
Whoa.
Man. This might be our worst podcast ever because we're watching these matches. But this is amazing. Like, how old are both of these kids?
They're both, I think Jamil is like 21, 22.
Right.
And Nicky Ryan is like 18, 17, 18.
I don't know where or when we were talking about like kids getting started in this.
Oh, Nicky Ryan got 2.
Kids getting started in this, right? And this is the perfect example of you saying,
I remember
is that the end of the match?
Yeah, I remember Jamil when he was a little kid. Like I used to go down to Lloyd's and train, and he was like a little kid in the kids class.
When did he score that too?
I think off the when they stood up, he got a single. Jamil went for the Kimura.
Right.
And Nicky Ryan ended up
on top. Okay.
If he had stood back up again, he wouldn't have got the 2, but he went to guard.
So, but look, I mean, he's huffing and puffing. He's probably got really good cardio, but this is the reason why I don't think he gets out of this bracket into the finals because of how tough his next match is going to be. Mm-hmm. Whoever he goes up against. This is like a brutal bracket for these guys.
But also, I think they have 2 matches today, 2 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
you could go balls to the wall here.
Yeah.
And save it. Who's up now?
There's Bruno Frazado and Ty Ruotolo.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, this is crazy, guys. We're as you could tell, true fans of grappling, jiu-jitsu, as we're watching ADCC, as we're doing the podcast with our new microphones.
This is a good match.
Who's
Mateus Gabriel and Gio Martinez.
I'm never really a big fan of Gio Martinez.
Me either, but I like Mateus Gabriel. He's really good.
He's
a good gi guy.
Okay, all right.
He broke, or not broke, but like really fucked up Cobrina's kid's arm in his first match at black belt.
Yes. Yeah, Kennedy Maciel. Yeah.
And then I think Kennedy put him to sleep, no gi, with a rear naked.
There.
So I think.
Payback.
But this guy is submitted, and this guy just beat Jamil in the world's list this year.
Really?
He submits a lot of people.
No gi or gi?
Gi.
Okay.
Yeah. But enough about
these guys
that nobody ever heard of.
So, did you see some of the major pullouts of ADCC. Keenan had to pull out.
Mm-hmm.
Who else had to pull out? Keenan's probably the biggest one, right?
Keenan is the most disappointing, and then Dylan Dennis.
That's the most disappointing for basically the reason why Dylan Dennis pulled out.
Why did he pull out?
The rumor is because he broke up with his girlfriend.
Oh,
Yeah. Must be heartbroken.
where'd you hear that?
The internet,
Oh, okay.
Instagram. I also heard, so Gordon, so I'm not particularly a fan of how Gordon Ryan approaches social media.
Sometimes he does some good things on there, though.
He does. Yeah. And when I say I'm not a fan, he's not doing it for my demographic, right? Like the people that his social media resonates with aren't 47-year-old dudes with 3 kids and, in their own schools. He's a much different demographic than I am.
Right, he's doing it for the guys that are going to go to his seminars and
Right. I may
follow
even go
him
to
on
a
Instagram.
seminar, but like the people that get hyped up for that kind of stuff, I'm like, I don't even know if Instagram's real life, but to these guys, Instagram is a part of their real life.
for sure.
So I believe he posted, I shouldn't say I believe, I saw him post to Dylan, please ask your mom to not contact my coaches and ask me to pull these posts down.
Yeah.
I gotta, he did everybody a solid on that one. Like that's just fucked, but awesome at the same time. Like as much as it's cringy, I'm like, Jesus Christ, that guy's got some balls or he doesn't just give a fuck.
You know what's fucking crazy is that how he makes a lot of good points about Dylan. Dylan Dennis rarely wins.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He's-
In grappling, he's undefeated
lost to
in MMA.
Tonin. He's lost to Ryan. Like
Usually he loses in grappling
Yeah.
at this high level. Gordon is light years ahead of him.
clearly.
I mean, actually, they had a very close match. Like
the last one.
Dylan Dennis is very good, but
Yes.
um,
But not as
but
good as Gordon.
not anywhere close, especially credential wise. But I think Dylan Dennis has like 1 million followers on Instagram, and Gordon Ryan has like 200,000, 195, 200.
So what you're saying is that Gordon's winning the battle and Dennis is winning the war.
Yeah,
Gordon, step up your.
because I don't think
you know what
Dylan
I think?
Dennis's goal is not to be the best grappler on earth.
I think what Gordon needs to do is focus more time on Instagram
I don't think
and
that's
the
possible.
internet.
I don't think that's
I don't know, man. he needs to redouble his efforts on the internet because he might not be spending enough time on it to get the kind of outcomes that Dylan Dennis.
But it just goes to show you that the best guy isn't necessarily the most popular guy.
True. And so enough about Dennis. Keenan Cornelius not competing really sucks because it would have been interesting to see post Atos some of the Danaher influence, and had he gone up, was he in the 9? Would he have been in Gordon's weight class, or was he,
They were in the same weight.
if they would have made it to, because they were the finals the last time they did it.
They also could have been matched up first round.
That's true too.
I think.
How do they do the seedings? Do you know?
I'm not sure how they do it, but I know. I forget what. Oh, 2 of the Danaher guys are matched up. Like if they both win their first match, they fight Tonin and Taza.
Yes.
If they both win their first, they fight each other in their second.
And they have to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, because you
They
can't
made that
bout
rule years ago because they had, remember all the fake matches that the Gracie Baja guys did?
all the fake. There was a lot of fake matches that a
Yeah.
lot of guys did. Yeah.
But like Marcio Fatosa ran out and got guillotined in 5 seconds by Henzo.
or was it Matt Serra? I forget.
I'm pretty sure it was
that-
Henzo.
okay.
Yeah, Fatosa and Henzo.
Nice. They were just like splitting up the money.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but
But that's what one of the coolest things about Abu Dhabi is that they like really forbid that and they punish it. Like if they find out that you did a fake match or you're not allowed to bow out to people.
it was pretty ballsy for those guys to throw those matches in Abu Dhabi
Mm-hmm.
because you could have been like thrown in prison and had your hands cut off by the
Yeah.
sheikh. So Keenan not being in it really sucks, and it was because of viral pink eye.
You've had that.
It is like people are trying to think it sucks ass. Well, maybe that's how we got
Yeah,
it.
that's
I'm
how
not
I
sure.
got it,
Yeah. But it is terrible. It's painful. It takes a long time to heal. And there is absolutely nothing you could do about it. When I caught it from another jiu-jitsu guy, much like he did it, a guy that was visiting the school who had caught it from another jiu-jitsu guy. And when I went to Will's Eye Hospital, which is like a premier eye hospital in Philadelphia, they quarantined me.
Hmm.
It was that contagious that I got quarantined And I think it took me 2 weeks to recover. Like I couldn't teach class. I had that crazy weepy eye for a while.
Yeah, I remember. It was awesome.
I was truly suffering.
Yeah, that's what I like. I like the most. Does it hurt?
It sucked. It hurt. There was a time when I became so light sensitive that sunglasses and a hat weren't enough.
Yeah.
And I'm driving like hoping that I'm not hitting anything, just like going, like my spider senses were going. So shout out to Keenan Cornelius. Hopefully you recover. And sometimes there's permanent damage to your eyeball from it.
Did you get that in your bad one or your good
I
one?
did. I lucked out. I got it in the
Okay.
cataract one, so it didn't matter. It was just painful and light sensitive, but it didn't affect my vision
Okay.
because I had no vision in that eye. So, any particular predictions you want to throw out there? What about Galvao versus Pena? Super fight.
I'll go with Pena.
I'm with you on that, Pena. Under 90, 99 and over weight class. Who do you got?
Probably Buchecha.
Same thing. Under 99.
Gordon or Vinny might be able to beat him again under these rules.
I have them both in the finals.
Yeah, but I'll go with Gordon.
So, because I did a bunch of predictions on that same envelope pre the bracket, and then a few of my predictions changed based on the bracket. But I have Gordon and Vinny in the finals. I think that's a distinct possibility. Under 88.
I almost don't care. Mateus Denise.
I have Denise and Jones in the finals. I think
who wins.
I think it's a tough one. I think under this rule set, I think Denise can hold off enough and not get submitted.
Yeah, I think Denise will win.
And then
80 or 77.
77. That's JT.
I
return.
said JT.
Yeah, I can't remember who I have. I have Tanquino and somebody else in the finals of that one, right? No,
Yeah.
That's under 66.
Yeah.
I forget who I have in 77.
This one I have 66. I have Meow.
Yeah, I have Tanquino doing enough to win it. But originally I had Nicky Ryan winning the whole thing. So before I saw the bracketing.
Oh, okay.
So when I was just like, when I knew the 16 that were in, I did my first set of picks, and then I did a second set of picks, and then I have some wild cards. Crazy enough, I have Orlando Sanchez as a wild card.
He could definitely win.
It's
been him and Buchecha in the finals, and it's always super close.
Yeah. And I had Jameel Hill as a wild card. I mean, he gave Nicky Ryan a hard run there. But it's just a great tournament, man. This is really good for the fans, really good for grappling.
I like that Fight to Win is running it. Like Seth Daniels is running doing the production.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. Okay. Because they had a whole big to-do yesterday with releasing the brackets on YouTube, and they had everybody walk out.
Yeah, so he put together like everything for it. There's the money guy that is the promoter.
Okay, that Mo Jassim dude?
Jassim, and
okay.
Seth Daniels is running it, like making it spectator friendly, like he did for Fight to Win.
Now, are they? Is the Sheik still involved with this, or is it just Abu Dhabi in name only?
I'm pretty sure the Sheik's involved. I'm not sure.
Like he's the.
I think he's always there. Like when,
in some sort of throne.
Yeah, he's got like a throne that he gets to watch all the matches.
Gets carried in like a Roman gladiator, not even
Which
like
I think
a Roman
he should.
emperor.
Like he's the one that started this thing.
It was amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like we didn't have this, and I like that they do it every 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good thing. It really makes it more Olympic like as opposed to every year.
And I do like the old times when they used to put like, it would just be like guys. A couple times they just had like strongmen in there. Like it'd be like sort of like Pride. Like
in the beginning, it was the Wild West, right? You had either these really accomplished grapplers, or you had these people that had reputations of being good grapplers, but nobody knew, and they got invited regardless.
But there was also wrestlers with no submission experience.
Jeff Munson he had a little bit of submission. He was training in pancreation.
Yeah, but there was this like Iranian guy in the first one that was just like a Greco-Roman wrestler. Had no idea.
I think it was one of my favorite ADCC moments was Ricardo Arona versus, I believe, Barklev, where all you hear is they start slapping each other, and all you hear is Mario Sperry in the background. I don't know. Like just trying to get him to stop because I think he's afraid he's going to get decapitated by some sort of guillotine by the Sheik. But yeah, those are crazy, and the ADCC has brought us some pretty impressive firsts in jiu-jitsu and grappling, like Hoyler Gracie getting triangled by Eddie Bravo, was the first time he had ever been submitted in his own weight class. He had lost to Mario Sperry before, I think by clock choke then, but that was a much bigger guy submitting him. But Hoyler getting submitted really, I think, put Eddie Bravo on the map, really helped 10th Planet.
That made Eddie Bravo's whole career because he got smoked the next round
By Leo Vera.
And then he never really competed after that. But he blew up.
And rightfully so. I mean, and the crazy part is that he did a basic push-pull triangle jump.
Yeah.
No.
It wasn't the rubber guard.
Or he wasn't in mission control. There wasn't,
Yeah, Hoyler like cut through the rubber guard like 3 or 4 times in that match. And then he got caught with just like a basic triangle.
And then Leo Vera, just made him pardon my language, his bitch in that next match. I think he ran up the score on him and everything.
Yeah.
But Leo Vera was like an unbelievably impressive competitor as well. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. So that's probably about enough about ADCC. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm getting bored.
Did you see that that comment that I sent you? Well, I know you saw it. So
I saw it. Yeah, I read it.
So
it's pretty harsh.
It was really harsh. So a friend of ours, Angie Vogel. Number one, congratulations to Angie Vogel for being, I believe she's Balance's first female black belt, right?
Congratulations on your black belt.
Okay, congrats. But can you confirm that she's the first?
I think she is. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's like a double congrats, right? Because if we were to look at all of jiu-jitsu, like the percentage of women that do jiu-jitsu is probably got to be 10% of the population of jiu-jitsu competitors, not just jiu-jitsu practitioners. So to be able to wade through that and get your black belt is an unbelievable accomplishment. And Angie's very skilled. She takes her Muay Thai seriously. I know she teaches. I think she's
like full-time
jiu-jitsu, full-time martial arts instructor. And some guy on Reddit, everybody's giving her props and being, just celebratory. And some guy on Reddit like just comes in here with I don't even want to dignify what he said by repeating it, but
it was uncalled for.
It was uncalled for, mean,
like isn't that what Reddit's all about? Like you shouldn't be like, Reddit is for the degenerates of the internet. I'm saying,
wait, I'm on Reddit all the time.
Yeah, exactly. But like the people that go on Reddit,
I'd like to point out a little bit of my growth here, because normally this would have set off a big argument. And
no, I'm just.
But I've been working on my gratitude practice, so.
I'm also grateful. But I think you shouldn't ever read comments on, especially a place like Reddit, where it's like, I would say the majority of the people that lurk around on Reddit are guys that like live in a basement, have nothing going on in their life other than to comment on stuff.
So the only reason I even found out about the comment that was made is I get a text from Angie, and I go, why is she going in on me right now? Like upset at me.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure this out. And it was about something that we had said in a prior podcast. And she was trying to make some counterpoints, and points are valid. But we say what we say, and we always typically stand by what we say. And I don't even think we were talking about jiu-jitsu instructors. I think the point in question was about a karate instructor, where if you teach a karate and you're not bringing certain things to the table, like, damn, like that's even.
I think it was just all martial arts instructors.
But I digress. And then as we got further into the text conversation, I found out that it had something to do with this Reddit comment. And the crazy part is it took me maybe like 5 minutes to find the comments, because of, if there was 150 comments on there, 148 of them were congratulatory.
Yeah.
Right. And that's awesome. And I texted her back. I was like, yo, dude, why don't you read the 148 congratulatory comments and not give a shit about this dude in his mother's basement that doesn't train and is into whatever he's into. If you look at his
probably
history.
Into insulting women on the internet. It's probably like,
and somehow thinks it's a way of meeting them.
No,
or maybe he's an incel.
Yeah, he just does it because that's how he gets his rocks off.
Yeah. So we're not even going to dignify him with a name or what he said, but congrats to Angie Vogel. Big accomplishment on getting your black belt, but also being Balance Studios' first female black belt. So congratulations to you, and keep fighting the fight for women in the martial arts, because I think it's unbelievably important that women feel like they have a place at the table to train and not feel like less than or other.
Don't you think that's up to them though?
How so?
Who's making them not feel welcome?
I don't know. There could be some places you'd have to ask a
Yeah, I
woman.
mean, some places.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
just saying, in my experience, I've never experienced anything other than people being very like encouraging and of women training. So it's like, I don't know, like, where is it not?
I don't know. I've only heard that some places might not be as accepting because
Actually, you know, I do know a guy that has a gym. He doesn't like women. He teaches Muay Thai. He doesn't like women fighting.
okay.
So he like won't corner. He'll have female students training Muay Thai, but he won't corner them for fights. 'Cause
Okay.
He doesn't agree with
so
them fighting.
there's an example of it, right? And I think that for me, especially since I have a daughter, it's really important to hopefully have her around an environment of other women that she can look up to as role
Mm-hmm.
models besides her mom and, you know, aunts and cousins that she might have that she looks up to, and look at these, you know, strong, powerful women and say, well, they're doing the same thing that I'm doing. And, you know, she's a nurse and does jujitsu and Muay Thai, or you're a school teacher. And
Why did you pick nurse? A traditionally female occupation. Why didn't you pick something like a firefighter?
because I'm actually thinking of a particular student at my school that's a nurse, actually has fought double-digit Muay Thai fights and does jujitsu. So her name is Jen Zecker. Somebody that, you know, like if I were to have my daughter at my school during an open mat, I'd be like, hey, check Jen out. Look what Jen's done. She went to school. She's accomplished all these things. And she's in this male-dominated sport and not intimidated to be here, you know?
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's why I picked the nurse.
Okay.
Yeah. How's that for you?
That was good.
Yeah.
Good comeback. Good,
That was, it's just,
good
it's,
recovery.
we call
Good
that
recovery.
a fact back. But yeah, so and for me, it's important, like I keep saying, because I really want my daughter. I'm hoping that she can love jujitsu like I love it, and Muay Thai, and just being in the gym and having fun, but also seeing how many women can really be good at this and hold their own, and like I keep saying, like a seat at the table, and saying, hey, you know what? It's important that you're doing this, because it's not just an activity for tough guys. It's an activity for everybody.
Mhm.
Who's going right here? Is this Grippo?
Gianni Grippo and Richard Alacorn.
Alicorn. All right.
Alacorn.
Yeah. So, and the girls or the women, so the girls in the kids program and the women in the adult program, all are really doing a great job of, you know, like taking the bull by the horns and really training hard and, you know, doing their thing. So,
Speaking of women,
yes.
there's some woman fighting Gabby Garcia right now.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough thing for that other woman to defeat, for anybody in that weight class to defeat Gabby Garcia.
Yeah.
Now, going from women getting their black belts and dealing with guys not being so nice on Reddit, even though 148 other people were rightfully congratulating Angie. What are your thoughts on the women's only classes and women's only open mats?
I hate it.
I'm with you.
Yeah. I did women only open mats before, and sometimes I would go into the gym like during the open mat, and it was like a bake sale going on.
What do you
Like everybody brought like cupcakes and brownies and cookies.
literally, they brought pastries.
They weren't selling them.
Okay. But they
But it was a social gathering. I just don't like it.
right.
Like, open mat should be open mat, should be training, everybody training. And like there wasn't many people training when I went in, and this wasn't I was probably in there about halfway through.
Right. I hosted one in my school and I was asked to leave.
Who asked you to leave?
So whoever, I forget who was there, they're like, hey, do you, and I was like, no, I'm not leaving.
That's
Yeah. I'm scratching the surface of something here.
Could you have asked her to leave?
I wasn't going to, but I made it clear there that I wasn't going to leave.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
yeah.
great, because that's what I think. I'm not a big fan of separating people into groups like that, and then
Because it could really boil down to the ridiculous, right? Like I only want to train with somebody that's 32 and 137 pounds and is a blue belt, right? So one of my students, Steph, explained to me the one The only time I could agree where training with another woman can be important is if you're preparing for competition to be prepared for the physical aspects a woman has that a man might not, and vice versa, right? So from that was the only argument I could say, all right, that I understand. If you're getting ready for a tournament and you're going up against women, training with women can be beneficial because it's going to be a different feel. It's going to be a different pace. It's going to be a different strength level, maybe even different techniques used.
Right.
But other than that, I sometimes the things I've heard is that women feel like guys don't want to train with them. That's why they want to have the female only open mat, right? And schools shouldn't be that way. You should just train, right? It's just like if you're going to train with a woman, you train with a woman, right? It's like if she's a blue belt, you treat her like a blue belt. If she's a purple, you treat her like a purple belt. It doesn't matter.
Right, and we'll get more into that in one of these questions later. But yeah, I think a lot of times when you make those women's only things, it's easy first. Man, it's a tough topic to cover.
I know.
But,
I come as two white men.
What's race have to do with it?
I don't know. I figured I'd throw that in, throw you off a little bit.
But just as two men, like we can't understand the experience of a woman,
right?
But also they
fully right,
and they have no idea what it's like to be a man, so they can't have. So if they're like, well, those guys don't want to train with me, you don't understand what's going through my head when I say I don't want to train with you.
Right.
But to be clear, I train with women all the time. I like training with women.
I do too. I think it's some of the actually from a technical standpoint, some of the best training I get is when I train with women.
Right, I agree. But it can easily turn into a women's only thing. Can easily turn into like an anti. The He-Man
Woman Haters Club from Little Rascals
in reverse.
Yes,
but what happened with you was you let a woman have a woman's only open mat, and she got abusive with that power and tried to like exploit.
So what happened with me
when she said, "Could you leave?"
Okay. Yeah,
when a woman asked you to leave your own gym,
I stood up to her tyranny.
I know, but that's what can happen with this kind of stuff. Is it can become,
and it could become very cliquish.
Right.
And then you can start having a culture of women only wanting to train with women.
Which especially if you're doing something for self-defense, you don't need to defend yourself against women.
Usually not, right? Most attacks are happening against a woman by a man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
if you're competing, I completely get it. Right. And if you're in a room full of 300-pound guys and you're a 125-pound purple belt female,
you're a 125-pound man.
It's
in a
gonna
room
suck.
full of 300-pound guys.
Yeah,
you're in for a long day.
Yeah.
So I've seen a thing from a gym where it didn't say women's only. It said no dudes allowed or no dudes training, which is like exactly what we're talking about. Like it went from this is for women to this is
against men.
You know what I mean? It's easy to make that.
Right. And
like,
I think,
how would it be if guys were like, we want men only training because we don't want to have to watch what we say. We want to be able to like just go as hard as we want on everybody and not take any rounds off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that, how would that make women feel?
Right. And sometimes I think people could like, oh, so-and-so didn't want to train with me. Well, you don't know what their goal was that day.
Exactly.
Right. If you have a 185-pound competitive man and a 120-pound blue belt, regardless of gender, ask them to train and they say no, he's preparing for ADCC. Like, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong weight class and the wrong skill level to be asking this person to train.
I've asked people to train, they'd be like, "Nah, you're too big."
Right.
And it's like, how's that any different? They just don't want to train with me.
Yeah.
For a physical reason. How's that any different from me not wanting to train with a girl because she's a girl and she's smaller? Or whatever.
I actually see you train, but like when we're at open mats together or at balance, like see you train with women all the time.
I try to always train with women.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, you can get really good work, and it's not that it's easy. It's just that it's not as physically hard on your body. Right. Like as if I train with a guy that's 225 pounds trying to kill me.
But it's whoever just submitted somebody with that. Oh.
That's Cobrina's kid.
Oh yeah, got submitted or did submit?
Looks like he submitted somebody. Usually you don't celebrate.
No, I couldn't tell who was who. So yeah, that's always the fear for me is I want not the fear, but I want to make sure that everybody understands that we all train with each other. It's just a human sack of meat that does jiu-jitsu regardless of gender, size,
Right.
and skill level.
Yeah,
Right, and you
everybody. That's the cool thing about jiu-jitsu is that pretty much everybody's treated equally, and there's always assholes out there
Right.
that might just be like, I don't ever want to train with girls.
Right.
Like there are individuals like that, but that's usually not the culture of a gym.
But the possibility is also too, right, is that there might be some women that don't want to just train with men for whatever reason. Right. And they want to train, they only want to train with other women. I know that those
Start your own school.
right. There's the I forget their names. Rachel went up against one of them at Fight to Win, is that because of their religion, they're not allowed to train with men. They can only train with women. So okay, all right. Well, then that's a bit different because of some sort of cultural or religious standard that you have to keep. So great. Otherwise, I think everybody should just train with everybody, and you get whatever you get out of it. And like you're saying, and I tell you, some of the girls that I train with on a regular basis, or women that I train with on a regular basis, they can give as much of a physical test to you as any man, and not only just technical test, physical test too. So if I know you're giving me a face, but I'm telling you, they could, they're big, fast, strong. So I hear you not saying anything,
So-
but you're making faces.
This is an interesting because I had an issue. I'm thinking about the no dudes allowed open mat. So that
Okay.
was from a gym that's LGBTQ friendly. Like they're very like pro LGBT. They have rainbows and stuff.
Right.
You know?
Alphabet people.
Yeah. So I had a transgender girl, female, who was born a man.
I'm okay because I'm already confused.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Born a man, transitioned to a woman,
Okay. Had the surgery.
from what I understand.
Okay.
Was in jujitsu and was like going after other women in class. Like it was hard to watch, especially once I found out what it was,
Right.
what was going on. So I had to tell this woman that she was not allowed to train with other women.
Okay.
But it's also hard. It's like I rarely have to have that conversation with a guy. I say, hey man, you're not allowed to train with girls. You go too hard.
Right.
Most guys understand, like if you're bigger and stronger than somebody, you don't need to just go nuts and ragdoll people around the gym.
Right.
You know?
So how does this boil back to the no dudes thing?
That gym burned down.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was a sin. So there's the segue.
Segue, yeah.
Nice.
But they're
So you think they burned down because it was the no dudes thing?
no, I'm just saying they're very LGBTQ friendly.
Right.
And then actually it was a separate issue about my story.
Oh, okay.
But they burned down.
Which
They have
sucks.
no, it sucks. It's terrible. But they have a GoFundMe, so you guys should look up the 8 Limbs GoFundMe online.
Because I believe they're in West Philly. It's a very popular, open and accepting Muay Thai school. I think at some point they had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu program, but I don't think it's there anymore. And they were above a body shop or an auto mechanic shop. A car caught fire. The rest of the building caught fire, and their gym caught fire.
Yeah, I think the gym's gone.
Is it completely?
From what I heard, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, they burned down.
Yeah, I saw them doing like classes in the park.
Yeah.
And I don't know the owners. Some of the people I know them. I guess they're decent enough people. I don't know them, but it just sucks for the community as a whole to lose a school that people enjoyed going to.
It sucks for everyone. It sucks for the students because they don't have a place to train. It sucks for the owners, don't have a source of income anymore.
Right, their business is affected by it.
But I think they'll bounce back pretty quick. But if you can, throw them some cash.
Some
on that
cash. Yeah, they
GoFundMe.
seem to be doing like the GoFundMe has been very successful.
Yeah.
And but helped them out. 8 Limbs Muay Thai out of Philadelphia. Good luck to those guys, and hoping that you bounce back from the tragedy of the fire. Bro, a couple grand openings.
When is Wolf Jiu-Jitsu's grand opening?
Yeah, they haven't decided yet. So they're open.
open
They're
and running
open.
classes.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
open and running classes. So 2 of my students, Shane Stride and Rachel Schoenwolf, just opened up Wolf Jiu-Jitsu in Sicklerville, New Jersey. So I wanted to officially congratulate them on the podcast for they burned the boat. They got rid of their other business they had, which was a successful landscaping and snow removal business, and have decided that they want to live the martial arts lifestyle, and opened up a school, had talked about it for a while, and decided to take the plunge and they're moving forward with it. Wish them all the successes. They're still going to be training with me. They're affiliated with NJMA, which is great. And, so I applaud them for taking the plunge and burning the boat, because they got rid of a very successful business.
Mhm.
And they got rid of a very successful business that also made their life terrible, right? You could see like every passing month that they were getting just like more beaten up and beaten down by running the landscaping and the snow removal, that, they just like, I just want to do what I enjoy doing. Right. And this was Shane and Rachel talking about it. And I have a really good feeling that they're going to be very successful for a few reasons, because they're like, they get the martial arts aspect of it. They're loyal. Their loyalty is of a high standard, I guess, and their ability to kind of operate with honor and integrity. Because there's already been a couple things of people going over there, and they kind of, hey, Marco, I know this guy was like one of your guys before. Is it okay if and I'm sure 100% go for it. But I want to see them do well for a lot of various reasons, because we kind of, our tree, like as like jujitsu people, starts to grow out and out as our students start opening schools and that kind of thing. So congratulations to them. They're in Sicklerville. I believe the website is wolfbjj.com. So you have any thoughts on the Wolf BJJ?
Congrats.
Man, a few words.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You'll need it.
Yeah, we all do.
Yeah. And Noah Spear.
Noah Spear, if it wasn't for Noah Spear, I would not be here today.
Yeah, well.
He signed me up for my first jiu-jitsu class at Maxercise.
Yeah, it sounds like we're rehashing the Ando cast.
That's one of the troubles with like doing podcasts. And I guess we all repeat ourselves a good amount. Like I've heard you tell the same story, like not on the podcast, but like in life. I've heard the same stories and same jokes for like the last 15 years.
They're still funny though.
I mean, I'm nice enough to force laughter sometimes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And humor the stories, but I mean, we all do it. You know what I mean?
I mean, how many novel or news stories do we have?
Exactly. It's tough when you have to record what you say,
and then
you go another place and record what you say, and then you have to try to remember like, what did I tell?
So and Steve Mote, Steve Mote, you know who he is. If you've seen him, you know exactly who he is.
Yeah.
Great guy, an attorney, like huge martial arts fan.
Great.
Huge.
Great guy.
Great guy. Great.
Okay. If you say he's great, he must be great.
He's a great dude.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why he's great and why you should appreciate him.
Okay.
Because every week he sends me a recap of our episodes.
Okay.
It's usually it's got, if it was a sheet, it would be like a sheet of paper recap, like 8.5 by 11, and he goes through favorite lines, things we said to each other, things that made him laugh.
All right,
It's probably the only reason I put up with you now, is to get his feedback and see what he thought was funny and getting his insight. But it's one of those things that it's funny, the little things that make you enjoy doing stuff. Like don't get me wrong, I really love doing the podcast. And, but getting that email from him midweek after the podcast has been released, I'm like, fuck, man, I said that. Like that's the other thing is people tell me things that I've said on the podcast. I go, I don't remember.
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think that's can be an issue.
Why do you think? Why?
Because then like what just happened, you say the same thing the next week. And then people are like, oh, I heard this last week.
Nah, I think we probably know it. Like, cause since we changed the topics moving forward, the only problem is we erase all the old topics. So we don't have like a list of things that we've already talked about. But people, I was going to say new students, but the new listeners popping in, it won't be it won't be an old story to them. It'll be a new story.
Okay.
Yeah. So big shout out to Steve, who's a good friend and student, for giving me those recaps. I'll start sending them to you. See what you think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to go to
I can't. I would. So we'd set up a play date for the kids after open mat in Jersey. So that was my plan. I knew the date, but when your kids come up with stuff, I'll be out to Noah's soon. I always like going over there every once in a while and teaching a class and getting to meet his new people. But I'm very interested in seeing the facility. And he's I guess he's changing the whole business model, right? because he had partner he was running his school out of Platoon,
Right.
and now he's got his own standalone facility for spear jiu-jitsu, which I think is
that's
great.
cool. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. It looks cool.
Beautiful outside of the building. I haven't really seen too much of the inside. Nice logo, nice sign on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so by the time
Which
this
is,
gets released,
and you know what's cool is that he's going to be in Delaware County. There's not really much jiu-jitsu in Delaware County.
so how far was you? Because you guys were talking on referencing the Ando cast again. You were saying that it's kind of close to where you were, right or no?
I don't know where it is.
Havertown.
So there's Havertown and there's Haverford, and I don't know which one it's in.
Okay.
But they're both close to each other, so it almost doesn't matter which one it's in.
Gotcha. Okay,
So
right.
it's in either Havertown or Haverford.
And that's Delco. It's in Delaware County.
Yeah. It's like close to, it's like so Delaware County can have somewhat of a shitty reputation for being a shithole, but this part of Delaware County, this is the nice part of Delaware County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard from the Pride of Briarcliff lately?
Who's that?
You don't remember who the Pride of Briarcliff is? If you don't remember, you haven't heard from him.
Sammy O.
Yes.
No, I saw him at some point, maybe at the gym or something, but I haven't seen him around too much.
So a big congrats to Noah, and I think Miss Isaac is his business partner there. They're going to be running the school and probably doing great and big things. So I think this is a big step and a good step for Noah to have his own standalone facility, not in the gym. And if you are in Delaware County and Havertown, go check it out.
Even if you're not in that area.
Yeah, you
go
should.
check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah. I'll be out.
Because Noah's like I said, he used to work the front desk when I started. He's been around jiu-jitsu longer than me. Was he around before you or after you? Who started first?
I started before him,
Oh, okay.
but the first day he was there, he was better than me.
But he was
Yeah.
like a guy when I started. He was like an untouchable guy. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he was.
And I remember the first time I trained with him, I just thought he was the front desk guy.
the guy with the mop.
It was just me. So I think I was a white belt, but I could do pretty well against most people when I first started because I had some judo training. But it was just me, him, and Rick training one day, and it was like the worst day of my life for my ego. I get at least.
I wish I could have been there.
Yeah.
But no, he was really good. Like I said, like he was a week in and he was better than most of the blue belts that were there already. It was sickening, and accomplished competitor, accomplished instructor. All right, let's move on to the questions. And we have a couple in the email that I forgot to add on to this. So
We'll get to them next week.
we get to them next week, or you could pull it up on your computer if you want.
Oh yeah. Forgot I had a computer. Yo, I just caught up on the last 3 podcasts. Great to hear Jared a few weeks ago. I have a new question for you and Tim. Who is the best BJJ instructor you've ever worked with? Was this person also the most influential instructor you train under? And what influence do you think they had on your teaching style? From Pete Myart, Old School Exercise.
Yeah, and I think we forgot to talk about the exercise influence on the local jiu-jitsu scene, so we could get into that on this question too. But for me, on a consistent basis, I feel like the best instructor I've worked with, and I've worked with a lot of different instructors, is our instructor or my instructor, Phil Miglarice.
Mm-hmm.
I think from a standpoint of nuanced technical ability, I've dealt with very few people that teach as nonchalantly as he teaches while showing a nuance of a technique that could possibly be mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And being in a class, like most of the time when Phil teaches a class, it should be like brown and black belts only, because some of the nuances are so, like, it's so matter of fact that a blue belt's not realizing like how important that switch of whatever he's doing is.
Appreciate what he's getting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I've been in those classes and I'm like, these dummies are talking and I'm zoning. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking groundbreaking for me, what he just showed. And these idiots aren't paying attention. Yeah,
Yeah.
So from a standpoint of like instruction, and I've always modeled myself, like Phil and Rick have always held a high bar in teaching, right? So I've always, like they're the watermark on a regular basis of how I view teaching. And I'm like, man, I just want to be really good like those guys. A couple people that I use now as a North Star outside of them would be the Henner and Huron, watching them teach is unbelievably technical and beautiful.
You know what's interesting?
Go ahead.
Is that Phil and Rick used to teach those guys when they were little kids.
Right.
So it's like a lot of and I see a lot of like Phil and Rick in those guys when they teach.
And the other North Star is John Donaher, not so much with how he teaches, but the deep dive that he takes into positions, but also pushing the envelope of the traditions of jiu-jitsu, or saying, hey, you know what? We don't have to be constrained by that.
Mm-hmm.
So the most influential person that I would say that I've ever dealt with is a guy that you mentioned on, again, the Ando cast, is Charles Williams, who just got his purple belt. Right. And
that was awesome to see.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was getting his purple belt.
I didn't either. It was super cool. It was always super cool to see him because I used to see him a lot.
He was like a mythic figure at Maxercise back in the day, because he was a guy where you're like, if there was a challenge match, and like he would have been one of the guys to do it. Right.
Amanda Levy just got submitted.
Oh, nice. Well, not nice, but hey, it happens. So why I say he's most influential, because at a really dark, injured time in my jiu-jitsu, he decided that he was going to not let me quit and work with me to make sure that I got through this rough spot.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll never, ever forget that. And, I'm getting like a little emotional now thinking about it. But and I don't even think he realized how important and how touching him taking an interest in getting me to stay or keep. I don't even know what his thought process was. I didn't like me, but he was just like, you seem to like jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu, and I want you to kind of don't get frustrated. And I had shoulder surgery, had a Bankart's arthroscopy. I would come and watch class, and he goes, come here. And he's like, put your gi on, shove your hand in your belt, and practice triangles with me. And that's the kind of love and care that you can get from your jiu-jitsu friends when they're like, I'm not letting you quit. Even though I'm not saying those words, I'm showing you that it's important to, and Zat Merriam, I think, had said it, don't let a injury become a catastrophe.
Yeah.
And Charles was the guy that forced me to not let that injury be a catastrophe.
Yeah, it's cool too, because you said, like, how well did you know him? Like on a personal level.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying?
But
He's just like some dude that fucked me up in jiu-jitsu all the time.
Yeah, but he sees you sitting on the side of the mat, and it almost doesn't matter like how well you know him. He sees in you what he saw in himself. He's like, oh, I got to get this guy on the mat.
Yeah, it's like we always say, it's like we're like brothers now. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's super cool to see him get his purple belt. 25-year blue belt.
I went up and trained with him a couple months ago at the Northeast. Yeah. He's still strong, tough.
Yeah.
So what about for you? Who would you say fits some of these best instructors you've worked with? And
I'll go top three. So I'll say Phil and Rick. Phil is like a guy similar to Eric Carner. Like, they have such like a sort of deep understanding of the sport or the art.
Right. I wasn't even thinking Muay Thai, because I would have.
Well, yeah, this is jiu-jitsu, but I recognize it with Eric too. Is like they're able to just like, he could just walk by and be like, oh, you should try this, and then like walk away, and it's like, and it'll be 100% on point.
Didn't he show you a move like a week before a tournament?
No, it was Brad. That's what I was gonna say. It was Brad Court.
Okay.
It was like Brad was practicing flying triangles before the Pan Ams one year. And he goes up to Brad. He's like, oh, when you do that, he's like, just set it up with a foot sweep first. It'll get the guy to step his foot back. It'll put him in a off balance. And then Brad did it a couple times. And then tournament,
boom,
exactly what Phil had showed him. And it was like perfect.
Right.
It was like a demonstration almost.
Didn't you pull off something in the Daniel Gracie fight that he may have shown you, or no?
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we were working on a guy on top of you trying to punch you and how to bring him back down and then swing right into an armbar. And it's like exactly what
I knew
happened.
there was something.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
But he's just got that ability, and Eric was the same. You know, he's like, this is what's going to happen in the fight, and he could like see the fight before it happens almost.
Well, working with Eric, it was just always like, oh yeah, just do this, and you're like, oh my god, why is it so simple? And why are you the only guy that's ever told me this? You know?
Yeah. So and then Rick's just got like a mind of like, he's like an encyclopedia of moves that no one's ever seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's just like, I think one of the most creative like jiu-jitsu minds I've ever seen. And then third would be Lloyd Irvin, who was like, when it comes to like competitive coaching, he's like probably the best I've ever worked with.
Okay.
Like training, because I used to go down there and train a lot, and I would like live down there for like a month or two at a time. And training down there for MMA is like what really opened my eyes to what like real training was like and like what it took. Because I was training along with like UFC guys and guys that were working in the UFC, guys that had, you know, but it was just like brutal training nonstop. It would go from like, you know, we would go in the morning and do like a morning workout, come back and do conditioning, go home, sleep for a couple hours, and then come back at night. And sometimes we would get in there at like 6 and leave at like 11, you know. But it was just training to the point where I couldn't believe we were still training, and I couldn't believe that I was still like able to like keep going.
Physically handle.
You know what I mean? So it kind of like really like, you know, just pushed me to the point where I was like, oh, I can do this. I can do anything.
Right.
You know. So I think that's one of the
created a new baseline for you.
And also just watching him coach fighters and sort of like break things down into systems. Like this is what we're going to do.
Good motivator too, or
for sure. Yeah. It's just the kind of guy, like he wasn't like a super like rah guy, but you just didn't want to like disappoint him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you did, he's like, all right, see you later. Like he wouldn't like berate you.
And he doesn't seem
or
like a
pat
very
you on the back.
emotional guy either.
No, but he just got you. It was I don't know. It was just the environment he created was motivating. Like there was no backing down and there was no pussing out really.
Gotcha.
You know?
No bitch assness.
No bitch assness. Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
nice. Anything else you want to add to that, or?
No, I would say those three. That's about it.
All right, next question. Now, we'll just do this one and we'll call it a night. What do you think?
Word.
We'll get those next two next week. Sup?
Man, these microphones do pick.
I'm like, yo.
So 2 weeks in a row, you burped into the microphone.
Did I?
Yeah.
My mouth was closed. I didn't burp into it. I burped in my mouth.
You burped around it.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're good microphones.
So these SMBs, these Shure we need to get sponsored by Shure SMB7.
I tried to get the sponsor. They told me to fuck off. They said just buy them.
I think their official response was eat a dick.
Yeah. It was like, yeah, just buy those shits.
Sup, my ninjas? With the recent promotion of Balance's first female black belt, Angie Vogel, I was wondering what you guys think holds women back from being promoted to the highest ranks in BJJ or even entering the sport in general. Is there anything schools should be doing to cater to women specifically? When rolling with anyone who is not as strong, skilled, or heavy as me, I tend to back off on my heavy pressure game to allow them to move. I have seen cases where some other practitioners will not back off on their pressure, which inevitably results in injuries and stink eye. Do you think this makes sense, or am I misleading those who under normal circumstances could not handle the pressure? Also, a few episodes ago, I think you guys were talking about cases in which individuals were demoted in belt rank by their coach, but you couldn't think of any examples. My good friend once was a 10th Planet brown belt, but changed to a more traditional school closer to his home. Since he never really trained in a gi before, they demoted him to blue belt. Even he agreed that rolling in a gi was a different world, but he eventually earned his black belt anyway. Thanks again for the podcast, your procrastinating ninja, NJ. There's a lot. There's a lot to unpack there.
It's like three questions.
I know.
Well, actually, no, the last one's not. Is it a question?
This is more of a statement.
Statement.
Yeah. He's sending a fact.
So there's like two questions up top.
Yeah. So like, what do I think is holding women back from getting their black belts or even getting started in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? It's a rough. I think this is a male-dominated sport. It's intimidating for a man to walk into a room filled with men. It's probably even more intimidating for a woman to walk into that testosterone-charged room.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of the thing is having everyone understand that it's a welcoming, open environment, that it might be intimidating, but you shouldn't feel scared, right? And I think some people don't start, and I'm just saying both men and women don't start because they're scared. And I have guys tell me all the time, it was really intimidating walking in here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think that's part of the, like the intimidation factor. And especially if you walk into most jiu-jitsu classes, what's the percentage of men to women? 90% men, 10% women.
Yeah.
Right? So there's another thing that might make a jiu-jitsu class less enticing to a woman, right? If they're walking in at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then why is it harder for a female to get black belts? It's just because there's less of them, right? And if our attrition rates are the same, by the time it gets to black belt, there's less women to be able to to promote the black belt. I think that's the only reason. The women that stick are just as tough as anybody that does jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Right. And they'll get their just desserts like like they're supposed to. But I don't think once they're in, right? Like everything, is going to hold you back, the injuries, timing, like blah, blah, blah. Like that's just no different between man and women. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Tim, on?
Yeah, I think hold on. What's the question?
Why, is there
What do you
anything
think
school
holds
should be
women back
doing?
from
Yeah.
being promoted to the highest ranks?
Right.
The same thing that holds most men from being held back. They quit. Most people quit. And just like you said, way fewer women start jiu-jitsu, but the attrition rate is, we don't know the rates, but it's most likely exactly the same.
Right. So I think that in general, the attrition rate through the martial arts is 7% per month.
Right. So if you have one woman joining per month and 10 men joining per month, your odds aren't high.
Right.
But it takes a rare man to want to do jiu-jitsu in the first place.
Rare person.
An even more rare person
Right.
to stick with it for 10 years. So it takes an even more rare woman, because if men inherently are more like want to like fight and are more aggressive.
Right. So, but if you look at a lot of Muay Thai schools, right, like you could see a lot more women doing Muay
Yeah.
Thai than doing jiu-jitsu.
Well, it's less physical contact.
Less human touch,
Yeah.
grab, grip.
Yeah. Like we were talking about this at the gym today. I was at the gym earlier today.
Hellfish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm looking at I think we were talking about NJ's question. And he's like, "What do you think it is?" I was like, Santini is on Kronos, Lord of Time, is on the mat with his face stuck in a pool of sweat, and he's got a 220-pound guy sitting on his chest, like kind of grinding his face into the puddle of sweat,
Right.
and they're squirming around. They've been there for an hour doing it. There's not many people that want to do that.
I trained last night with Irish Kyle, who's an animal of a human being,
Mhm.
oddly from South Philly. And I thought he was
You
from.
never know it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's from Ireland.
I thought he was from somewhere like down south, if you look at him. But I was not warmed up, and he was completely warmed up, and it was one of the most disgusting training sessions I love the kid.
Yeah.
He's tough as nails, and at the end of it, I just turned away from him in disgust. I'm like, this just feels awful.
Yeah.
So, and if you're not initiated, that just looks terrible.
Yeah. So it's less women, I think, in general, are interested in doing it in the first place.
Right.
And then once they see it, like they might be like, "Oh, I want to learn jiu-jitsu. I want to learn how to fight, or I want to learn
Right.
self-defense." And then they see it. It's like, well, it's, rolling around on the ground with sweaty people. Maybe I'd rather just do Muay Thai.
Right. But the culture, it's okay for boys to wrestle with each other typically, right? Like we applaud it in general in society, but girls a lot of times are told that's not ladylike, or that's not girly, or like this, that, and the other. Could that be another reason that you're coming in with some sort of cultural issue, or saying, well, like that's okay for guys, it's not okay for girls?
I mean, I doubt it,
Okay.
but it's possible. Everything. The only universal is that everything is both influenced by your biology and your culture.
Right.
So maybe, but I don't know. I've never heard anybody say that's not what girls do.
Okay. I mean, people say it. I've heard it.
And I have plenty of girls in my jiu-jitsu class, the kids class.
Right.
So I've never seen a parent say that to a girl. I'm sure it happens, but
Right, but that's you see that with an initiated group of
and also
people.
the reason why people think that is because it isn't what girls do. Girls don't fight and roughhouse. That's not how they interact. That's how boys interact with people.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. Like that inherent interaction that's accepted for boys isn't typically accepted for girls.
I think the reason for that is because it's not typically what girls do.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's
Yeah, that's what I
I'm-
mean, and that's why then
the
taking it into
cultural
adulthood.
aspect is influenced by the biological aspect, that boys growing up just want to like run their heads into walls and fight
Yeah,
and
they're
wrestle.
they're idiots.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I can clearly see in the kids class, like the girls that are in class are so far ahead of the young boys as far as their
We've
ability.
said this. We've repeated this 4 times. I cannot agree with you enough.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like there's like most girls can pick up the move really quick, and most boys are like picking their nose and like
And the girls
I'll
are.
tell you one thing you never see in class is I always see like little boys constantly like looking for things to hit, whether it's the kid next to him or the punching bag next to
Okay.
him. And I never see a girl like looking around waiting to hit somebody.
I have also had more little boys cry in class than I've had little girls cry in class.
Well, no, I've had more girls crying.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that, you know, like maybe we're part of that generation that's showing girls that roughhousing is completely acceptable for them, and that they should be doing it, and that these girls will hopefully be less intimidated into adulthood to continue into an adult martial arts program.
Yeah, I think every girl should do it.
I started my kids program so I could teach my daughter.
Yeah. So, but even though I think every girl should do it, I still think you're always going to have way less women doing it than men.
Right.
Women just aren't into getting roughed up.
Right. They'll be more into Muay Thai.
Right.
Or, you know, like that kind of, and hitting pads. Like you said, there's less human contact there. Now, what
Also,
about
like
this?
cauliflower ears? And,
I think one of the girls at my school is dealing with it now.
yeah. But the good thing about that is they have long hair; they can cover it up.
Yeah. I guess he's still got cauliflower. That doesn't take it away. And what about the second part of his question?
Yeah. So rolling with women is this is where you do need to have a certain level of special treatment, but it's not necessarily because they're women. It's just anybody that's smaller, anybody you're physically superior than, you should be able to like regulate your intensity on them.
I was in Brazil my first or second time, and some of you guys that are like really jiu-jitsu heads will know this name, Fredson Alves, who is a high-level jiu-jitsu guy. And he asked me to train, and I'm probably 40 to 50 pounds heavier than him. And we just trained light and moved around. And it was one of the best compliments I had gotten at that time. We're just saying, hey, man, you really get what technical training is. It's like moving around, having fun. Doesn't always need to be, you know, smash and squash, you know.
Right. So whether you're going with a girl or a guy, if you're way bigger and stronger than them, you shouldn't be putting all your pressure on them.
Yeah. So, yeah, don't be a jerk.
Yeah. But we've had issues where like a woman will be mad if you use too much strength, and they'll be mad if you take it too easy. So that's like they get upset. It's like you're not even trying.
Right. Yeah, I've never had that happen. I always try.
It's not up to you to determine how hard I go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if I don't want to try, I don't have to try. Make me try harder.
Right. And if you don't, you know, and if I have to squash you, there's a reason why I'm squashing you. Right.
Yeah,
now.
and you can't be mad if you get squashed.
Right.
You could be, I mean, everybody can be mad if they get injured.
Yes.
Or if they feel like the person's being malicious towards them.
Right.
But again, like I told you I had to not let my trans woman train with my biological
women. Right.
my biological
Or again,
woman.
still very confusing on that topic. Well, I think that's about it. How many times did we refer to the Andocast today?
Not enough. Go listen to the Endocast.
Check it out. A good friend of Tim. Again, I'm having beef with Andy until I get the official invite. Tim, what's our we've officially landed on a date for the Ninja Rob. Nikki Rod and Lando. What's the score? 0-0? So we've officially landed on a date, correct, Tim?
Yes.
For the Ninja Rob
Was it
podcast seminar. November 16th, which is a Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
We will.
Is it? Wait, it might be a Saturday.
Either one. We could whatever.
It's a Saturday.
Do you want to do it on the 16th or the 17th? What do you want to do?
Oh man. What do you want to do?
I would
Prefer
think
Sunday.
I think the 17th, because say if we do it at 10:30, right?
Oh yeah, we'll do the open mat.
Then we rolls right into open mat.
Great call.
So
Sunday it is.
Sunday,
17th.
November 17th, Ninja Rob podcast seminar.
New Jersey Martial Arts.
New Jersey Martial Arts,
Maple Shade.
455 Route 38 West, Maple Shade, New Jersey. We will be officially doing our first seminar for all the listeners. We'll be setting up a page for all you guys. You will have to have listened to the whole podcast and know that when it's happening. So only for deep fans, it might be like 3 people showing up to the seminar. Maybe if they tell their friends. We'll set up a web page soon. It'll be on the Ninja Rob podcast website, and we will be having the seminar. Please come out, sign up for it, and then go from there. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Tim and I would like to thank our sound engineer and studio owner, Devin Wade, for always doing a great job with the sound, but also the beautiful facility that we get to use here at SFX Studios. We'd also like to thank Eddie Lynn, who takes and donates his time to the podcast to do all the video editing and everything you see on our social media. So really appreciate that from Eddie Lynn. And we'd also like to thank our friend Ralphie Darden, aka DJ Major Taylor, who gave us the original music that we use. So you're welcome, Tim. For
and almost just as importantly as everybody else that he mentioned, we would like to thank all of our listeners that submitted questions.
This is the Ninja Rock Podcast with Marco Perazzo and Tim Carpenter, the podcast for the true martial artist.